What's up, ninjas? The better you get at music production, or at least the better I get, the more I wish it was like the good old days when I was younger. Not because I felt younger, but because of the way I thought, you know, before I knew what compression, EQ, how to make sounds, all that stuff. Because there's something very magical about it in the sense of making music, not knowing what you're doing and ending up on something dope. And as you get better, you're going to notice that you kind of want to get some of that magic back, because the more you know, the less you know. And I find that is very true in music production. So this song came to be because of this vocal, and this vocal came to be because I watched a tutorial on how to make deep house from a while back, and they were making the case that you want to sample R&B acapellas. And as I did that, I came to a revelation that, oh my God, a lot of these vocals have been used in multiple songs. We got Prince like Half Naked there. Rest in peace, my dude. And that's the thing, 90s acapellas. You can go through these lists. Look,
and gentlemen,
use that for a tech house song. And you know, you're gonna realize that real quick. And there's a lot of good ones now. You know, sometimes you can't find those, so you do have to rip it from YouTube. And if it sounds good, it sounds good. See, that's what I mean. Let the ego aside, man. Rip that shit if you have to. But there's still skill in it, because what you will end up with is something like this.
I don't know if I can make another space in my heart. Everything right turn wrong, everything good turn bad. It's so hard for me to figure out the man inside of you. And
you man inside of you, bro. So you have to rip stuff out of the vocal for it to make sense in your song. That's the skill, and having the ear for that.
I don't know if I can make another space in my heart.
Right? So we bring those vocals into this setting, chopping up some of the parts that aren't needed.
Bring it back now.
And we get some nice grooves going. Okay. Right? I really like the song. Very simple, but it's probably one of my favorites that I've made. Even if the playlisters, I sent this to a bunch of playlisters, and they were like, yeah, you used too many vocals. I was in a trance until you brought in this second drop, which we'll get to, because I want to talk about arrangement as well. I know that will benefit a lot of you guys. Hopefully big revelations there. So from there, the other mistake I made early on in my career was not using synth loops. And for this one, I wanted to do that because I saw the guy just fucking using synth loops and like chopping them up and doing crazy stuff with it. So this is how I came up with this section of the song. So after a few 8 bars, we come to this, which is what I would call the meat of the song. Okay. So the reason that synth loops have become a huge part of my production now is because sometimes you really don't know what you want to do. You kind of have the vocal, you have the bass line. I wrote that, right? But from there, you're like, okay, what do I do as the top line? And that's where it gets kind of difficult. So having resources like sample packs, splice, and loop cloud are super useful for getting a concept down. But what if you find something that is dope, that just works? Like that. This is literally a full loop that I believe I chopped up. I see that I have cut that. So we're going to look at that, right? To fit into what I wanted to do. And no, I didn't even chop it up. I just did that cut there for some reason. Maybe I changed the key. Nah, not even, man. And back then I would have been like, you know what? This is not right. Or you know, nah, they're going to talk shit. But again, now, like, just letting the ego aside, who gives a shit? It's the way you bring it together that's valuable, because you can use this in other songs and it might not sound as good, or it might sound better, right? And that's the key there, is that everyone's going to flip these samples in their own way, and you should be okay with using them. Again, if it sounds good, why judge it? So we got that. We have this nice sound coming in. But the other thing that I like about this, because now due to this, I now bounce all of my synths down, because things that open up that you can do. One, you can reverse stuff. For instance, here we have that shot that's part of the top, I believe. We can reverse it and create that. We can also, sounds like it got time stretched a bit. And it did. We can also time stretch. And Ableton has a really dope engine where you can hold shift and pull as long as it's warped here. Hit yes. Always hit yes. It's like reading an agreement. And you hold shift and you stand. And it creates these like ta-ta-ta-ta. Now, at the bottom left here, you're going to see this. This means off. That means it's not going to loop. This means it's going to loop and reverse back in. Not reverse back in, sorry, but start at the beginning of the transient marker. And that's what creates that effect. And then we have the one that reverses into itself. And now if I go 12, you get all these really cool textures again. So working in this audio format way was really dope because I got to experiment with that stuff and learn more practical knowledge rather than just stuff I'm never going to use to create this thing that leads into the main synth loop of the song, which is this one, right? So again, this video, all I'm trying to show you guys is simplicity is best. Don't judge it. You can sometimes make your own sounds, which is dope, but if you don't have to, be open to that as well. And then we get the... And that sounds sexy. Here we have another shot. There you go. It's literally like playing puzzle pieces with what you got. And there we go. And then we have the big reverse up here. You can see where the loop is. Now, I did rename this stuff mainly because I think what I was doing was I didn't want to leak any of the stuff I was using because I was making tutorials with it for YouTube Shorts. And I've had instances where some producers, big and small, have stolen the ideas from my videos and made their own songs with it. Some of you guys have messaged me with that stuff, and yeah, I can't really do anything. Music's not gonna make me money to that extent, right? But still, I wanted to keep my idea till I was done with it, so I renamed everything I used because people were like, "Where'd you get those synth loops and shit?" I was like, "Yo, let me release this first, dog." So if you ever wanted to learn how to do that, you do Command A. Click on something, Command A. Sorry, click Command A, Command R, and name it whatever, like Synths tutorial. Look, boom, and everything's named. Just in case you ever walk into a sash or something and you don't want to give away any vocal or something, you can do that as well. So there you go. That's a dope tutorial. Okay. So, and that's how your favorite producers do it too when they hide their shit. Fuckers, right? All right, anyways, we got that. We also have this nice little string sound that comes in on the second part of the drop or the breaks to create tension. I really like using the Selena for this. I'm not too much of a fan of Arturia stuff nowadays, but the Selena is still a good string machine to use. If you ever wondered, like, when you use sample packs, where do those string sounds come? To create, like, that. It comes from those. And you can process it, right? Here, I feel like it's a little out of control, so we center it by collapsing to one side. Also, this vocal. Shania Twain, bro.
Let's go, girls.
You know, you submit your song to playlisters to promote it. It's the way Spotify works. You got to get it in front of people, right? All the playlisters that denied the song didn't like the little, what I call Easter egg vocals that I put in there. They were like, it doesn't add anything. I was like, bitch, it adds a lot. Because the 90s girls are going to hear that and go, oh my fucking God, no, he didn't, bro. Shania Twain, bro. Like, let's go, girls. Like, come on, guys. I feel like a woman. Oh, don't get copyrighted.
Let's go, girls.
You know, I took it to the next level. I saw that video and I was like, yo, I'm going to do this stuff. So that's something you guys can do. Like, you can treat, like, if you go to the gym or if you study, hear music. And as you hear music and as you're studying, maybe you hear little things you can sample out to use for your music. It's a cool idea in my opinion. So, anyways, yeah, the strings there and brought that up because of so-and-so. Okay, cool. So, the other thing is the programming of the drums. I've made so many videos on this, and I always try and guide people to the light, but some people don't listen, and then they ask why their drums don't sound good. The reason I say have most control over your drums is because the thing is that when you create your own drums, or at least know the basic theory of the boots and cats, kick obviously goes on the 1, 2, 3, 4, offbeat hat goes on the offbeat, and then clap goes on the 2 and the 4. But from there, the ands, this is where you start to learn theory on where your rim shots, your your close hats, things like that will land, snares, right, on the ands. And then you start to learn, oh, okay, I could do this and that. And eventually you realize that top loops and loops like this are meant to fill in the gaps, not take away from it. So, for example, here we have this loop that I wrote. By the way, for those of you wondering what I'm using here, I'm using the samples from Mars 909 kit. They sell it on their website. It's like the 909 core kit, except more flavorful. And this is what I created, right? With a bit of swing, 1657 here, and we can control how much we're influencing by here with the timing. We go all the way versus lower. So I decided to go 63 because when you go with too much swing, you will find that the track feels slower than the BPM it says it's at. And this one's at 126. Once I have that, I'm like, that's grooving. What else could I really need? Well, texture. So shakers brought in. These aren't really doing anything. But as we start to get into these guys, this is a loop where I like the open hat accent it had. And I just used Ableton's envelopes, clip gain, to take away what I want. And the purpose of this is that I get a lot of students where I tell them, yo, your drums sound like shit, in the sense that they just sound too washed, not defined, all over the place. And a lot of the times it's because they just drop loops in and don't take the time to design their drums out. So this is how I personally do it. I program the main one, and then we get a loop like this one. YBB, look, it's right here. And on this one, I'm just grabbing these to help add those little fills to the main loop up here. Like that. Get the shaker in. And you know what? Simple, easy, and it's a great way to stay in shape. You get the point there. Like, that's the problem with most people. I find most people also overlayer because they just don't know how to get their drums to sound fat. And to this day, I think I kind of know it's a lot of saturation. I love using this thing. It's a UAD tape machine. Pretty much the way I use it, if the kick is not there, is I run it all the way up to 0. Like so. Reduce the volume. Gain stage down. And it just brings a lot of flavor to the drums when done properly, right? Like, that's the main thing. Always properly, man. And of course, Saturn, because when you're processing drums, what you're trying to do is you're trying to squash them if they're too dynamic. You're trying to get the perceived loudness up, which means just you want them to sound loud at lower volumes, so that way they're not like destroying your limiter when you master it. And yeah, it's kind of like a cat and mouse game of just trying to get the drums to smack and sound loud at lower volumes while still maintaining that presence, right? From there, a clipper. We all know about clipping. Soft clip. Look at it. This is the one we're watching right here. Before, it's just boom, bah. Now we clip, and it stays at 6 no matter what. You do lose a bit of punch, but one of the biggest things I've been learning as I get better at mixing in the modern sense is that even Calvin Harris, who I see very highly of, like I was just referencing Miracles, his song, fucking squashed, bro. Like squashed to hell, bro. Like, but you know, if it sounds good to you, then that means you like that sound and you shouldn't judge it. So again, more revelations, brothers. So with drums, that's one of the biggest things. I'll keep saying it till the day I die to you guys, and hopefully one day you guys will listen. Some of you guys still don't listen, and I hear it, and in the feedback stream, see it as a way of I care, or see it as a way of he just doesn't get me. He doesn't get my fucking sound, bruh. So from there is a guitar that I had my cousin record for me. I don't know how to process guitars. I think he did a lot of this processing, and eventually I added this Tantra, which is a great plugin that you can get on sale. I did get it for free. I do have to state that. Thank you guys over at Plugin Alliance or Beatport and that mega new group they're doing. They're trying to monopolize plugins, I think, but whatever. As long as cheap prices, I'm okay, I guess. But yeah, 50% just to give it that nice delay that it has. Tantra is a really nice plugin, by the way. I use it a lot. I kind of said F you to him in a sense because I should have put the guitar louder in the song. If you guys hear it, you will see what I mean. And if you agree, you agree, and you can tell me, you know, you got your cousin better, man. Imagine, dude, you have your wife on the song and you make her vocals too quiet and buried. She's gonna hate you, bro. It's a divorce coming, bro. Okay, so sick. So those are some of the things. I just want to show you guys like the way that idea came to fruition, because that's the most interesting thing. Everything else feels kind of like, you know, just do your thing. But the other thing too for me with this is the arrangement. Every time I write a song, I always do a Chris Lake arrangement because it just works. And people are always asking me about arrangements and stuff. So I want to talk a little bit about it because I just had a few sessions with people where the arrangements were bad, but it's just because they everything works in 16 bar 4 bars. Okay, now this can change depending on the music you have. If you have a song that I would call serotonin overload, these kind of tracks, Martin Ikin, Matroda, West End, Max Styler, these are tracks that just throw a bunch of sounds that are very obnoxious. Again, not in a negative way, but just very loud, very cool, right? And you can't really loop that for too long because people are gonna be like, you know, eventually. At first they're like, yeah, like give me some cocaine. But after a while, you can't really loop that for a while because it just doesn't sit well. It doesn't add, right? It's only good for a few. So those kind of tracks, you will find 16 bar formats work really well, where the drop will be 8 bars, part 1 of the drop or part A, then part B of the drop, and then it goes into a break or into a bridge. This is what I decided to use for this song, mainly for Spotify, move fast, you know, not loop too long. However, if you have something that's groovy, it's not loud, and it can be heard for a while, then you can choose to do 32 bar drops. You can choose to do 24 bar drops, like this long. So you can feel the vibe. If it's loud and obnoxious, you know what to do. So this is the way I do it. Okay, start with drums, etc. Right? Like start off very minimal. Cut the lows out of the kick. That will go on for 8 bars. And every 8 bars, you have to add something. Here's the next 8. Shaker. More drum development. Finally, 16 bars, new section. So 8 bars, something happens, 16 bars, new section. Get the bass. If you guys wonder what the bass is, it's the Mini V. I like using this guy. If you guys follow me on Patreon, you know that I'm a big proponent of, you know, hey, make your own basses if you can. It's not that hard. Presets are good too, but just learn how to make your basic ones first so that you can, you know, understand the basics, and you'll be able to do anything and not and finally listen to Sen instead of doing weird shit with the low end. That's one of the biggest things, bro. Side chaining, of course. Allowing some of the mids through. Second side. Oh my god, what the fuck did I do? Look at that. Beginner mindset, bro. Beginner mindset. Anyways, we got that. Beautiful. Okay, so first drop, right? No, I don't think we really come in with the synths till the second part of that first drop. Start introducing them. And yeah, because then we introduce the bass here. Boom, boom. Then new section after 16 bars. We get the first break. And this is where the vocal is introduced for the first time. Hey girl, hey girl. That's from the same song, by the way. Guitars presented in the break here. And then, let's go, girls.
Let's go, girls.
I don't know if I can make another space in my heart.
8 bars. We're about to get another 8 bars coming in. Guitar swells.
Make it sound like I ain't giving something that I should.
And then we get the nice effect.
Bring it back now.
Yeah, the players did not like my vocals. So again, 8 bars. Finally, we have the main synth shots. And now, after 8 bars, we add something new here, which is going to come in there. All right, that's all. Just very simple. The drums, there might be a ride in there that gets added, but something does come in here. Let's try these new, like, they're simple. And then, boom. This is what I mean about the Chris Lake arrangement. So a lot of Chris Lake's tracks that I like, which are more of the Spotify friendly ones, midway through he has his mid break. So again, it's 16 bars every section. I think his break might be a little longer. I'm begging here. So again, it's just 8 bar decibles. If he made it longer, it would have been another 8 bars like this. Added in, Command I, Command C. Okay, but from here, we could do the mid break where Chris Lake usually goes 180, which means he removes the low end and removes a lot of stuff, or he just gets ready to unleash the demons. So this is what happens. There. Vocal. Building up. And then we're going to surprise people with a sound.
Let's go, girls.
Acid shot. So Chris Lake does that, where he doesn't do this, but he always comes in with a new sound. So if you hear begging, he does it like fucking new sounds coming here. And we go back to that part B of the drop that was over there, right? Again, Chris Lake just referencing his ass. This is how he does it, and I do it for most songs nowadays because it's just, it keeps things fresh and very interesting. But again, this works too for like the serotonin house, Matroda, West End. I don't know if it would work for more of the groovier stuff. So that's what I mean, like feel the vibe out and be able to decide what you got to do. But from here, this piano, see, it's a splice loop that I found. I think it could tell us here, piano stab night 03 C sharp minor. It does that thrun. So if you feel like, oh, you can't do that because it's just, you didn't make it yourself, or you didn't record the piano, whatever, at least do something dope with it. I decided to do this transition with it where I increase the crystallizer on it like that. And then it shuts off so that we don't have any tails that are unaccounted for. Because usually tails, if you leave the delay going, it can fight or interact with something else that I might not want it to. So do that in transition. Get that lead into it. Come on. They didn't like that. Here, the difference between the first and this one is a string sound, which Solina, again, beautiful sound, beautiful plugin. And then from there, we also have a Juno. But like I said, I don't really use your Arturia stuff too much nowadays. I found Softtube, and I love soft stuff a lot more. Here, it looks like I'm using Diva, actually, a PML preset. Damn, I went thin, bro. Holy shit. But nah, I'm kidding. Sometimes thin is what we need, because here, I just needed some texture, and this was perfect. So there's a place for everyone. But I always want to be thick with the sounds if I can. And then we get the Bring It Back Now, which here's the vocal pack name. It's from Splice as well. So this part here is what we would call like the C part for the break. So we've never heard it before. It's meant to create a lot of tension. A lot of times here, this is like the part where, again, not this song's not going to be like that, but if it were, this is a part where, you know, this is a part where you just create more interest in the song.
Like I did you wrong. How'd you do the dirt? Then don't pick up too long.
I believe the stabs here, sometimes, you know, you might have issues like, what should I add, Zen? Reverse the damn stabs. I think these were reversed.
Like I did you wrong.
Pretty sure I reversed these.
How'd you do? Don't pick
and time stretch them. I think it was reverse and time stretch. Where I got it like this, reversed it, and I went, let's see if we can create something dope with it, and then just time stretched it, and it gives...
Like I did you wrong.
Yeah, there we go, like that, and then I chopped and moved stuff. So knowing your tools, right? Learn how to use your DAW. It's a big one. But from there, you know, be open to using that stuff. Like, I can teach you guys how to reverse samples. It doesn't mean that I'm teaching it to you so that you can make ear candy with it, right? Maybe for reverses. But if you find use for it elsewhere, then that's where you bring all the knowledge together that you've learned throughout the years. And that's how you become a better producer, right? Because, I mean, I think everyone should aspire to be better every day. Makes life interesting, right? And brings happiness to you. So, yeah, we do that. What's cool to show off would be that I programmed this noise for the build-up. And I automated all this stuff on it to create this moment. The noise on the sides. And then, so it's just the down sample is the biggest thing on it, because check it. This guy. And then you get the delay, right? The tail of the delay. And then you downsample that and you get that. Now, if I would have made it last a little longer, maybe it would have been a lot better. So let's try it. No, feedback high. Look at that. And we make it white because there's a lot of stuff down the center that we don't want this sound overlapping with, okay? And so that's the stereo image of stuff. And then I'm trying to make this my signature, so don't steal it, guys, but it's this drum fill. I did it for Smile Again. It's a track I did with King Julian that's actually doing pretty decent. So boom. Yep, dry and wet there. High decay. I love doing that because look how it just sounds like. There's the space is there for it. And then finally, guess what we go back to? That section. Random ass fucking. Again, the influencer, the playlisters didn't like that. Some of them. I'm still very grateful. Dance FM Romania or something. They put it on their playlist, and I think they also played it on a radio show in Romania, which I was like, dope, bro. Like, you know, I'm in SoCal. And it's funny how usually the people that live on the other side of the world support your stuff, and the people over here don't. But I think that's just part of the way it is, bro. It seems to be a norm. It's just you make stuff that you like, and maybe where you live, people don't like it. Like Kiss FM told me to fuck off when I sent it to them, bro. Not kidding, dude. And there we go. Okay, so just going back to the arrangement, right? This is the part where many people are like, but why did you add those 8 bars? And you said it was 16%. So that's the thing I'm saying, right? You feel the song out, and this section here, if it was the radio edit, I can choose to leave it or take it off. So if I do Command Shift X on it,
Bring it back now.
you know, I gotta figure out how to get to that, or I do this. Right, but this is still 8 bars. It's still divisible by 8 bars. 4 bars maybe could have also gotten away with that, but it's just I needed the 8 bars. That's as simple as that. And then 16 again. Then we finally get the drop, which lasts about 16 bars. Or sorry, actually no, I'm stupid, bro. This is 16 bars for the break. Put the drop there. This is the drop. Then we get this, and we got here the first part of the drop. And then the beat part. And then we have a climax for another 8 bars. I felt it was needed because when you do something like this over here, it just didn't feel right to end there. So again, another 8 bars added. Or 4, 8. And then we get the outro. Right? And then here's the bass pattern if you guys want to see it. Bass pattern has the same swing as the drums. Maybe you could interchange them, but so far it's worked for me to just use one. And then we have the outro. And I usually keep my outros very simple, especially now that I'm DJing again. I realize like, oh shit, I can't really fill out the outro too much, and like I need to give myself more time to mix out. So the good thing about DJing is that when I'm making dance, I'm not really thinking about playing it out. I care more about the songwriting, but now that I'm DJing, it makes me rethink some of the things I've been doing. But this is a good medium because it allows people to mix out here. It allows people to mix out of the song here. Because there you have the vocal by itself. Someone can mix in the other song and use the vocal in their mix, right? And have this playing over a space or something. So those are dope shit. They can loop that whole section there before the hello comes, right? And then over here, this gives them enough time to mix out. Anyways, guys, I wanted to add more meaning to this song. You know, I make music all the time, and I'll release it, and cool, you know, a few people listen to it, I'm happy. But teaching what I did in it hopefully helps some of you guys out, and that gives a lot more meaning to the song, far more from just getting people to stream, right? If you guys can get something out of this, like that you use in your music, and you make maybe one of your best songs or a new song, then it's, you know, it's nice to think of that. It's super dope. Other than that, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you can skip around. I'll leave some dope timestamps for you guys. I'll leave another video for you guys to watch. But other than that, you guys take care, and you guys have a great rest of your day.